meeting to order, and please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right.
Go ahead. You say you're going to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we add a community presentation on tonight's agenda with Mr. Daly and the students that are here.
I'll second.
Okay. This is to talk about
Let's talk about the track.
track
A track.
and their initial, kind of what they, I guess what they said was financial facilities, so they'll expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, abstentions? All right, floor is yours.
Good evening.
Hello.
My name is Coach Daly. I'm the head coach for the football program here. I'm also a volunteer coach for the track and field team. I have with me a bunch of athletes that would like to speak to you after I'm done with the presentation, if time permits.
Yeah, they can come on in.
Yeah, come
over
on
here.
in, sit in the chairs.
Yep.
All good. All right.
So what we're proposing today is a new athletic field lined for all three football, soccer, and field hockey, as well as an 8-lane track built around the outside. Go ahead. So currently the student athletes that we service currently, we're around 20 to 30 student athletes per season for field hockey, about 35 to 50 for girls and boys soccer combined. 30 to 40 for football, 40 to 50 for track and field. That number is projected to go up. Coach Curry, I'm sure, will mention that later. And cross country, we have about 10 to 15. And one of the big things about the track, especially, is we've had a track team for about 17 years now. And we have serviced well over 100 students each year utilizing that program. And we have yet to commit to fundraising for a track. We did a cost analysis. We broke down the average cost of a natural field. This is nationwide. This isn't necessarily our field upkeep costs. But the national average on a 10-year basis, maintenance cost is between $18,000 to $44,000. Use per year is around 800 hours. Anything over that, you have to speed up the timeline and service for your fields. But around 800 hours is the typical for 10 years, per year, and that equals out to 8,000 hours every 10 years. Cost per hour of use is broken down to about $52 to $108 per hour. Okay. Now, the average cost of a turf field and their upkeep, same time frame, 10-year basis, right? Maintenance costs between $60,000 to $100,000. Use per hour, so that's 2,800 hours every 10 years. That averages out to 28,000 hours. So while it costs more, you get a longer period of time before you need to service the facilities. Cost per hour is about $29 to $52 per hour. Based off our athletics and the hours that we typically utilize the field between all of our sports, we may be able to extend that 10-year service to about 20 years. 20 years to service our fields with the turf field and track. So that lowers the margin even more for cost of upkeep. Some additional utilizations that we may use for a track and field such as this. Gym classes, summer camps, we can rent the field out to the community. Graduation, reduced damage to existing fields. And community usage. Right now we have current community members in Orange, Grafton, Dorchester, Enfield, and Canton that will travel to either Hanover or Lebanon to utilize that track. Typically elderly folks looking for a flat surface just to get their steps in. So what we're asking for, right now we're not asking for the school board or the school to fund any of this project. Right now we're just asking for permission to start fundraising for a project like this. To solicit the community, solicit some companies, and to see if there's enough funding out there so that we can do this independently without tapping the taxpayers. All we're looking for is a secure account that we can earmark funds and save for a rainy day. Right now we're projecting, I do have an itemized cost from a local company, not a local company, but a company that serviced our area before, and it's around $5.6 million. We're projecting that we might be able to reach that in 3 to 4 years of fundraising. Yep. Can you click that link for me? Scroll down, please. 2 fingers on the mouse pad. Go up.
Go. Oh,
There you go.
okay.
Keep going. This is the full cost breakdown. This is everything that's included in the services that this company would provide. They start from breaking ground to the finished product bow tie on the bleachers. Keep going. It includes the sanitation, the irrigation, prepping the soil, removing the soil, and everything that goes into the entire finished product start to finish. For just the track and field, so 8 lanes and a field line for all 3, is $3.5 to $3.6 million. Lighting system, that's an additional $450 to $650. I understand that we already have some conduits running down to the field, so that might cut that cost a little bit as well. Keep going. Press box and bleachers, $800 to $975. And I looked up to the company that they outsource for the bleachers, and that's pretty much at cost. It also includes a new multi-sport LED scoreboard. Right now, the scoreboard that we currently installed, maybe 10, 12 years ago?
No, like last 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yes.
Oh, it's brand new.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Okay, well then we
Yeah.
might not need a new scoreboard.
There we go.
Yeah.
So that would cut out that as well. And they also built into the budget loose equipment. That's things such as hurdles, jump pads, everything that goes into the field aspect of track and field sports. That's new field goals. That's actually protective nets behind the field goals. That's the whole shebang, including a perimeter fence around the track. It also includes all the equipment for sanitation, everything you need to groom the field. And it also includes a 3-year check-in. They come back after 3 years of use to make sure that everything is still performing as it should. Scroll down for me, please. So everything, all in all, keep going. Oh, sorry, my bad. Up, 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 up. All right, I guess it didn't scan the whole document. All in all, it equals that number of $5.635 million. If time permits, I have some student athletes from these sports that would like to speak. All right.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you want me to go before them?
Oh yeah, sorry. First we'll have Co-Curricular.
Sure.
So I won't touch too much, I won't touch at all on the budget stuff. That is all Coach Daly's baby. What I will say with the track, I know, Brewster, you're semi-familiar with Lebanon. We definitely don't want to go cheap with the track. Lebanon tried that once. It was a disaster. They just put a whole lot of money into it. Beautiful, brand new track now, but I know they wish they would have done it right the first time. So that's definitely an expense we would want to do right the first time. But what I really want to focus on is just the growth of our program. Last year, we had 10 kids that went to the state meet. Tomorrow we're taking 18. And we had 3 more that would have been next in line if they would have made the cut. So that's a pretty good jump in 1 year. We had 42 kids compete for the high school this year. 28 of them were freshmen or sophomore. So we are absolutely a growing program. Next door, they had 20 kids competing and 15 of them were in 8th grade. So they're all coming up in line. I don't really have, dreams than anybody before maybe those 8th graders would experience this. It might even be 7th graders, but by the time this is in place, I would expect we're probably going to have close to 60 kids competing just at the high school level. And then next door, probably 20 to 30. There's a whole lot of kids in our district that would make use of this. Both of my 4x1 teams made it to states. Both asked yesterday during practice if they could go practice at 11. I'd say, if you guys have your own cars, you can drive over. Nobody can drive a teammate over. And they said, well, what about after practice? And I said, I don't know if your parents are okay with you doing it after practice today. So they said, what about after practice tomorrow, meaning today? I said, if your parents are on board with it, what you guys do after practice, I can't tell you no. At that point, you're just kids hanging out. So today, after practice, to prepare for their state meet, they drove over to Lemon to prepare for the 4x1. They definitely admire their dedication, but it sure be nice and safer in the future if they could just stick on school grounds for that. So we absolutely have a growing program. We have a lot of people comment, I mentioned this before in the Finance Committee, about our sweatshirts, no track, no problem. What does that mean? And we explain to them that we don't have a track, and they say, any chance of one? We say, we're working on it. So hopefully that will be coming in the future. There's some budget savings there too. If we host 2 or 3 meets a year for the high school, if we host 2 or 3 meets a year for the middle school, that's 4 to 6 bus trips that we're not taking. That saves money, that adds up over time too. So I know there's all sorts of justification here. Probably don't have to do a whole lot of convincing with you guys on that. And as Coach Daly pointed out, really all we're looking for here is to get permission to start fundraising. And with that, I want to turn it over to these fine young men and women.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Stapelfeld. I'm a current senior at Mascoma. As a student athlete, I've played both soccer and basketball throughout all 4 years. And while I don't participate in sports that require track, it's not really a secret that a track at our school would benefit every sport in their own unique way. Between conditioning for soccer and field, having easier access to that type of conditioning, as well as time miles for fall cross country, sports outside of track and field would benefit from the investment. Personally, summer conditioning would have been more accessible and practical for me throughout my years if I had a designated place to run and to build my endurance for my athletics in the near future. And I imagine how better of an athlete I would be and how future athletes could be if I had these resources that John Daly is currently advocating for. One way to better our community is to allow the new track and field, as he mentioned. Not only would students be benefited, but other adults and families who look for the opportunities to stay healthy and active. This could be a way to give back to our community and promote health and wellness among our population. I'm confident that Uprising Athletics would continue to grow as a result of the new track and multi-sport field, as well as the community involvement and appreciation for the sports that work hard to represent Mascoma High School. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, that's my signal.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elena Trempe. I am a senior. I have been on the varsity cross country program all 4 years. Past 3 years, I've been on varsity track and field, and this past 2 years, I've also been on the indoor team. Personally, it's a bit of a struggle as I hurdle, and I don't have an access to track and lanes. I hurdle on the football field. That is a major safety risk because the amount of pounding it does on your legs upon landing, because you can take off and you land at a different height, and that destroys your ankles, your shins, your knees. And when you're teaching someone how to hurdle, that can really destroy someone, because if they land and then because they're not landing on steady solid surface and they just take a dive afterwards, that can destroy their whole confidence. But in general, a track will help improve safety of athletes. It'll keep injury down. It'll also help with people trying to get back from injury, because they have marked out distances and they can go however far they need to be recommended to go and then take a break and then go again. It also helps with conditioning, as Kaylee mentioned. It'll just help in general, because just help in general for the whole entire community, because then like people who in general who are like recovering from surgery, they can go and walk however far they need to do on a flat, even surface with nothing that they could potentially trip over. But at the same time, like Coach Rick mentioned, we could host multiple meets. Like an 8-lane track is preferred for like states and any other type of championship, like Wilderness this past weekend that I went to, or CVC, Connecticut Valley Conference. 8-lane tracks are preferred because you can have 2 heats of your running events for like your sprints, and so it just makes it a lot easier. And then those meets actually bring in a fair bit of money because you're getting the whole entire division coming in, like state meet. You get all of D3, so you're getting people coming from all the way down in Sanborn, New Hampshire, to all the way up in White Mountains. So you're getting people coming from everywhere. So that would bring in a lot of money if you do like concessions and and like admittance, because I know they tend to do like $5 admittance into these sanctioned NHIA state championships. So those are some really big key importance things: keeping injury down and just overall safety.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Zach Thompson, and I am a graduating senior, and I was a part of the boys soccer team that reached 2 Final Fours in the championship game this past year. And all those like big games are actually played on turf, and to get ready for those turf games, we actually have to pay a pretty high rate to nearby turf fields to practice and get ready for the games there. And throughout my high school career, we have been playing on grass athletic fields, which have been a struggle sometimes when we had to put sand down in some of the muddier, unsafe places on the field. And I believe that being able to have a turf field or getting the okay to start the process of bringing a turf field to Mascoma would benefit many of our athletic programs with soccer, field hockey, football, cross country, track, and cheer, all using the field to achieve peak performance. Along with that, I believe that is a great opportunity to bring the community together, revolving around sports and other events and things such as camps, community events, and other gatherings. Overall, I hope that you can understand where us student athletes are coming from and why, despite us not having the opportunity to utilize a field like this, we really would like the future Royals to be able to.
Thank you. Whoever.
My name is Kylie Rogers. I'm a captain on the field hockey team. This track would greatly benefit our team as well as the surrounding community. We play on turf throughout our summer league and some games during the regular season, and without the ability to practice on a turf field, we are at a disadvantage playing teams that do. Many times a year, athletes leave school early for away games, taking away from academics and stuff like that. Adding a light system allows us and them to stay in class like till 3, and then we could play under the lights for a night game. Also, a lighting field would allow us to host JV games because their games get shortened because of the sunsets and stuff. Mm-hmm. So having lights would let them play a full JV game. A turf field with all the recommended equipment would support all of our existing teams, build school pride, as well as attract new families to our district. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, I'm Gunnar. I do track, indoor track, and cross country. And I know that last year we had our coach Ben who would take us out on all sorts of roads for most of the season, which was nice, until this year he was barely there for half our practices because he had work and he had to do all sorts of stuff. And we were stuck running around the school over and over and over and over again. And it sucks.
No joke.
And so even though we wouldn't be able to go off and go on to all of these places, at least we would have a track that would have designated distance, be flat, be the right terrain, and be exactly what we're going to go run on, rather than be on pavement with a little bit of hill, a little bit of downhill, and just not at all replicating what a track can do. I also know for cross country, the rail trail can get really hot, and you can just be not ideal in some places. And sometimes you'll get out and you'll just not feel it. Then you have to come back on the road trail. And that can suck when you're already feeling like terrible. So on a track, you can just stop. I think it could also improve the community, being able to use that. And I know I have gone to Lebanon multiple times on my weekends just to be able to get a workout in, designated distance. And other people can do that too, like older folks can come and use our track. And other sports can use it, not just track and cross country. And I just think it would be a great addition to our athletics.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is TJ Martin. I am part of the varsity football team as a junior captain. Back in 2012, we had the best playoff run in football, Mascoma football history. We were the first seed and had home field advantage. Unfortunately, due to the state of our fields, we were unable to use that home field advantage, and we had to use Hanover's turf field. Thankfully, our community has and probably always will travel very well to any game. But why ask them to? Why not give our student athletes and the community an opportunity to get a field like this? We are asking for the ability to raise funds and an account to earmark any funds we raise for this project. We have a beautiful building. We have more opportunities and facilities most high schools don't have. We should have an athletic field to match. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Thank you all students for sharing that. Yeah.
I just wanted to add one thing too. These guys, a couple of them did touch upon it, and I just wanted to again emphasize from the track side of things. We had, I think it was 11 meets this year, but they were all away meets. Now some were on weekends, but it's a whole lot of getting out of school early. Middle school is in the same boat. I actually just spent the last couple of days for the middle school getting them out of a meet at Fall Mountain today and into a meet at Kearsarge. So they didn't have to leave at 12:30 to go to Fall Mountain today to get dropped off, have a driver come back and do an after school route. Kearsarge being closer, Dave Schindlinger said, well, I can leave at 2:30 and just take them there myself. Now I have set a team full of middle schoolers because they were looking forward to getting out of school at 12:30. 2:30 educationally just makes way more sense. And so for both the high school and the middle school, getting 2 to 3 home meets a year is 2 or 3 more days of being in school the whole day. Whereas other sports get 8 home games, 8 away games, everything for us is on the road. So mixing anything in there to keep these guys in school is certainly a plus.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I'll open it up to the board for questions. If you have questions for anybody here. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bruce.
I got a list. I'm sorry, you have to bear with me. Bear with me because I got a list I've been writing down left and right here. First of all, thank you very much for coming. Printout presentation. I'd like to see a printout of this whole thing, this presentation, because it's easier for me to sit there and analyze the whole thing.
Gallon.
I think they were in our packet.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so you gotta understand, my packet is,
It was from a few weeks ago, I think.
that's fine. Anyway, I don't see, you might be on there, I don't see anything about a pole vault on that screen. If there might be a place for the pole vault, is it on there somewhere?
Is it the yellow line?
No, right now we have long jump, triple jump, high jump. We haven't yet.
You got one for discus. You can see that to the left.
Well, actually, we already built.
Shotwood, I'm sorry.
We had a motivated community member donate cement for a throwing platform.
Yeah.
So we can actually get rid of this and
So
put in high jump.
it'd be a shot putting a discus in the pole vault. That's what you usually have for all these track meets. Okay.
We have not yet offered pole vault at the
Well,
high school.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to bring up everything that goes on with the track meets because all these places like Lebanon, Kearsarge, Newfound, they have them on separate places other than what you have for your track. I understand you got that on the track.
There are a few high schools. Newport is one. There's another one we traveled to this year that did not offer full.
Yeah.
There's only 6 Division III schools that do offer it.
Yeah, there are quite a few
A
that
coach
don't.
needs a special license to coach.
Yes.
football.
All right, so I was just bringing that up, so point of, I mean, you don't have to have it in that little diagram you got there. You could have it outside of what your presentation is. I'm actually writing down grant money. You need to, hopefully, if you're gonna go fundraising, try to see what you can get. I mean, at some point, grant money's out there for special projects like this. I've gone around a lot of schools. I've talked to people in Newfound. I've talked to people in, well, Patrick Andrews over in Marlboro now. Their track is totally different than what you want. They're not happy with theirs. Kearsarge is the best one I've seen. I was just there the other day. Not that I know you guys have this meet tonight, but I know the AD there. He's going to be there one more year, and he's leaving. So Kearsarge is a very good example. I know down at the other schools down near. Trying to think down near Umpire, not Conville. Conville's got one too. Conville's got a track area, and also, I mean, you already got the thing there. Before I forget all this stuff, electrical company. If you reach out, I know it's not your deal, but if you reach out with whoever's going to try to do all this stuff, electrical company Eversource is the one in Lebanon, and we've been trying to deal with them on what we're doing from some other stuff with solar panels and all that stuff, but they can help you out with light situation, and and then you're going to look at like maybe the baseball field wants lights and whatever else. But if because Lebanon is still trying to deal with putting lights on their baseball field, okay? They had somebody that would donate the poles, and all you do is switch them around for the football field, and you can have the lights for football and baseball. But you got to make sure you have it for the softball field because it's a Title IX thing.
So originally how this whole process started, I was kind of putting feelers out for a lights proposal. And I actually found portable solar powered lights. That total was around $250,000 for a portable solar powered lighting unit. So then we could roll them over to the baseball field, roll them over to the softball field. That takes care of Title IX. We have soccer, girls, boys soccer, field hockey, all on the main field. So that's actually a huge reduction in what they said for the fixed lights. The only difference is that servicing those portable solar powered units is much more expensive than servicing ground unit.
Well, that's what I was saying, trying to get to, is when Lebanon initially put their football field in, because I know the whole logistics of what they did when they put the lights in, all right? The power company went in, and a lot of the linesmen, they donated their time, they went in and put the poles in. The biggest expense was just putting the lights up. They're just giving you a big history on that whole thing, because I've talked to the AD, it's been there when they did the track all over again this year in Lebanon. I asked him exactly before you guys even thought about putting in, this stuff, and it was like 1.2 million, and the AD has told me what they were doing, and they got a great thing. The only things that I want to bring up is, which, it's maybe part of our thing. I know the NHIA you can do, functions for the NHI tournament thing, but some of the fees go back to the NHIA, which you probably know. The biggest thing we have to deal with, the biggest drawback I've heard about this right now, not with you guys, is where are we going to have a practice field for all these other teams that when that's going on over there, where are they going to practice? So, and I haven't got that answer yet, and that's the only thing I want to, it's the stuff I want to bring up to you. But if you guys, you could actually your timeline's looking at 2 to 3 years, you know, it depends what you can streamline. You know, the power company, go over into Lebanon and talk to them. My dad worked for them for 35 years, so I know a lot of the linemen that donated a lot of their time to go and put those poles in. Poles are nothing. I mean, it's just the lights.
Right.
Okay, so that's what I got there, but I've seen a lot of these other fields you're talking about, and so, I mean.
Good.
Okay.
Good food for thought. Yeah, a lot of good things. There's a lot of creative ways we can get around and doing stuff. And yeah, you had a question or comment as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll preface this by saying that you will be probably hard bound to find someone who hasn't been a supporter of Mascoma athletics, as I have, and as my family has. I love the idea of this. I hate to be the party crasher. The logistics are what my concern is around. And there are several different things. One being, I think that before there's ever going to be an opportunity for us to start even approving fundraising, the fact of the matter is there needs to be some sort of feasibility study, because we're on a floodplain. And from going through the process of the renovation of the school, that was a huge issue in even getting any of the stuff to the school done. And so I could not in good conscience vote to say, yes, let's go ahead and start fundraising, because I'm not certain that we would be able to get this done here. And the amount of energy and goodwill that it takes to get the generosity of the community, both locally and beyond, on board with this, it could be devastating if we were fundraising. We got $1.5 million into it, and then by that time we've had a feasibility study and found that, you know what, it's really on this campus, it can't happen. And so I think that we have to think about it in stages in that kind of way. And if we can get through maybe this next year, maybe not even this whole year, maybe we're talking about before the next budget cycle comes up in the fall, can we get a feasibility study so we can look at the environmental impacts, and so that we can look at the engineering of such a facility, so that we could say, yes, this is something that's doable on this campus. Then great. Then we can go to the next phase, which is to start looking at what are the options for funding this, and how long is an appropriate amount of time to get something like this done, knowing that our budget cycle is about 18 months before the money actually happens. And that's assuming that the voters say yes, which we all know is not a guarantee each year. And so that also means we probably are going to have to look, even if it's fundraising, that is going to be the key financial aspect. We probably still need to put a warrant article on, because there's going to have to be some sort of bond that is the plan B in case the fundraising doesn't happen, because you can't get a couple $1 million into it and then say, sorry, not happening, right? So it's going to need a warrant article to put a bond onto the warrant, and that means having stuff ready by December, so that the warrant article can be ready for all of that sort of stuff. So there's just some logistical steps that I think need to happen first before we get super excited. I think you all did a wonderful job in coming up with options and doing presentations and giving us the reason to this community why this is a needed resource and why it would be valuable and a value add to our community. But the fact of the matter is, this is, it's a tough sell. And that's why, even though we've been talking about it, I'm almost 12 years on the board now. I think almost every year we've talked about this in one way, shape, or form. How can we make this happen? How can we make this happen? And it's been a struggle to think about the prioritization. So if we can get to feasibility as far as environment, floodplain, the engineering of such a facility, and think about the stages, warrant articles, all of that, then I think it would be time to think about how do we move forward. And we might need to say, okay, you could do fundraising to pay for a feasibility study because we haven't budgeted for that. You know, so that might be the initial kind of goal, right? Something
that's the
small
first
for
step.
something like that, right? I think that is definitely something that's doable. And then when you get to the point where you're actually talking about the turf field, you know, you can look to the example of Interlakes, for example, where they were able to put in a turf field, great placement, couldn't afford the lights. That's a separate issue. But if you know, have a conversation with the Interlakes boys soccer coach, you'll know that they only get to play on that field on games. And then it's what Brewster mentioned as far as the scheduling. It's great to have so many teams, especially within the same season, that could make use of a field. But that also means it's more of a hassle for scheduling. And if you have a turf field and it's only being used for games, then are you really getting the benefit to the fullest? So there's the logistics of that come into play. And then last but not least is is really just looking at our local community and the financial resources we're within. I mean, even in larger towns like Hartford, Lebanon, and even Hanover, which has way more money available than we do, they've still underfunded recreation and athletic facilities. You look at the Campion Rink, that has both Lebanon and Hanover folks and utilize that ice hockey arena, and you know, they had planned this renovation. They're looking for $2 million more right now. You know, so again, it's another reason why making sure that we have all of the logistics in place in order to make this a successful program are going to be really critical to moving forward. So I'm going to, you know, I love it. I want to see it happen. I'm going to walk on that track someday. I don't know that it's going to happen next year, though. So if we can get to the point where we can look at how do we realistically, to this community, make this happen, I'll be your biggest cheerleader.
Took us 3 years to get 23.2 million to get this renovation done.
Right. Kathleen or Vicky, do you have any comment?
I'm all set. Yeah.
What, you're all set?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she took my thing about the floodplain,
Yeah.
so I'm all set as well.
Okay. So what's the pleasure of the board? You want to, because I kind of agree with what you're saying, is that I don't want to burn community goodwill and find out that, oh no, we can't put it on this campus, or oh no, it has to be way in the back, or you know, something like that, and it's not what we wanted. But I think you have, like Danielle said, you have the biggest fans up here. We all really want to do this, want to do it right, because I think we have one good shot to do it with the community, because otherwise, you know, it'll come back, oh, it failed, and it's not needed, and that sort of thing. So we want to make sure we do it the right way. Go ahead.
Did we ask if there's any?
Oh, yes. Well, public comment. Any public comment on this after that?
I just wanted to make note about, you know, they've said everything there is under the sun to be said about this, but the one thing I would like to add to it is that it's just being centralized adds so much to a lot of other things as well. You know, Seth doing his streaming. Every day that we stream, you know, a game, Seth and I go out and set up the staging, and you know, we're running cable across so we have power, et cetera, all those little things get taken care of when you build something like this. And you know, we can start charging for, you know, some of the games and stuff like that. It's impossible to think we're going to charge for a soccer game right now. There's just no way to control that kind of thing. But when you have a stadium with a fence around it, one entrance, etc., you know, there's so many little things. So, and again, I know I'm kind of selling to people who are pretty much already sold, other than how are we going to do it. But I did want to at least point out that, you know, there's all kinds of little things that we would benefit from tremendously on top of all the stuff that's already been said.
Okay. Anyone else in the public? Any comments? Okay. Yes.
You really can't go ahead and start fundraising without getting a lot of things taken care of. I'm a senior citizen already, so I'm not out walking around the track. Okay, I'm still rock.
We don't have one. If we have
well,
one,
I don't need to. I'm out.
You're out in the field all the time.
I'm out in the field all the time. Appreciate it. Yeah. So I kind of agree with what's been brought up. I just try to bring up all these factors here before you even get going. And I kind of agree with Danielle and what's happening here. I'm not trying to discourage you at all.
Not
At all. It's just, it just seems like, you know, you gotta get the cart before the horse, you know, the old saying. And so, yeah, if you find out that is a feasible project to
Full
do,
steam
then
ahead.
go from there.
We should probably find out if we can fundraise enough to buy the cart. So
There you go.
Well-
The site assessment was $30,000.
Okay, so
$30,000
$30,000.
for them to come do the full survey, make sure it's feasible, make sure it fits, make sure what kind of irrigation system it would need, and if it's.
You're thinking even less than that, right?
I'm not necessarily. I'm looking to Amanda to see as far as facilities wide, you know, having a vendor come in here and do a site assessment is not, correct me if I'm wrong, not normally the way that we.
No, so what
can
we
do
would
that.
need to do is put it up to bid, right?
Yeah.
So it would be put up to bid, we would need to, so we do need to follow the process, right, for those pieces. I would suggest at this point, I don't think there's anyone here, we've said it before, we'll say it again, that's opposed to a track. However, we do need to make sure that we can build it, then the people can come. But I would suggest right now that the board would give permission for Mr. Daly or Mr. Courier to move forward with fundraising in order to gain the funds to do that feasibility study. Because at this point, there is no money in the budget for a $30,000 feasibility study. You know, survey, whatever else we would need to do. So that would be my suggestion to the board, is you would allow it to move forward for phase 1, if you would.
That's a good way to pay it.
What did they do, excuse me, what did they do? Who came and saw you about this to start with?
I called them. They used town maps, open access documents to make their initial cost.
He found this
analysis.
company.
He found this
Yeah,
company.
he found this company that puts in turf fields and tracks. And
Yeah,
stuff.
they were
That's what
working in
I'm
Merritt
just
or
asking
something
a
like
question, that's all, because based on what we did for survey, for building this renovation for this project, for this school renovation, we had some stuff done on that. As far as the flood deal goes, that's why
They may be able to take some of that information.
that's why I was trying to bring that up, because there was a lot of, that's why you see a lot of the stuff that's out here on the, where the school is, where the old moguls there.
Yep.
And that was part of the renovation project that we were in the middle of.
So I went to the count of,
That's all
I
right.
went to the town of Canaan assessing department and pulled their maps, all open source.
Yep.
And I sent them whatever I could find.
Cool.
Okay.
Do you have a question?
Yeah,
Or comment?
would, I'm just trying to formulate the motion correctly. Would we want or need to set up an account through the school district to start fundraising for a feasibility study, or does it need to be under the auspices of a booster? Or
I would prefer that it was done through the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we can have a designated line, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the only way you're
Okay,
gonna
good.
get, it's the only way you're gonna get public support if you put this
Yeah.
on a warrant article for coming in
Yeah.
March to try to do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
That's
And
all.
Is there any concern that we will have a new business manager and this would be,
And we'll be still contracting with Defort,
okay.
so she would be able to smoothly continue that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we allow fundraising to begin for the feasibility study for a track and turf field at the high school.
Phase 1.
Phase 1.
Yeah.
Yes, phase one feasibility study.
Yeah, there you go.
Second.
Was that Vicky? All right, thank you. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions. All right, there you go. Thank you for coming and presenting this.
Thank you.
This is the first step in a long way. We can see what happens. Yeah, be good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
All
thank
right,
you.
thanks, guys.
Be nice to put it
I'm
on.
gonna ask the question John wants to ask. Does
Yeah.
that mean, like, without this being set up already, does that mean he can start making phone calls tomorrow? or do we have to have the line?
Yes,
He has to have
Set up a trust
fundraising
account.
done in an approved way according to policy.
Right.
So you'll need to look at the fundraising policy and you'll have to have the approval of the building administrator. So follow that
Yeah.
policy.
Sounds good.
Questions, call them. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's see, next thing we got continuing business, we will go over skip the student representative report, because it's not the year. Finance facilities, you have,
Minutes from last meeting.
oh yeah, that's right.
Make
I
a
skipped
motion
right
that we
over to
approve
that.
the
Thank you.
minutes, public and non-public, from May 9th.
Second.
All right, minutes, public and non-public from May 9th. Any comments, questions, concerns with those?
No.
All right. Looked great to me. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Abstentions.
I abstain.
You abstain, you're not here.
And both, and Vicky as well.
And Vicky abstains as well. So 3-0-2. And I will say for the minutes, also Hope contacted me and she's absent tonight. She told me earlier today.
I told you.
Well, I might as well do public comment. Any public comment?
I don't like this setup.
You don't like this setup?
Not at
That's
all.
fair public
You can
comment.
go hide in the back.
That's it.
There's too many people behind me.
Yeah.
We
Every
can
time
move
we
back.
try to
We
fix
were
it,
trying to
there's
do
still
something you
people behind me.
You could hear us better, like on the YouTube. That was part of it. Was trying to hear us better on YouTube, but also,
seeing.
and I'd also prefer seeing the door from sitting here too. But
So we can kick you out.
Door?
In the presentation.
yeah,
Okay.
we can play with it. We got this on. We can play.
Okay.
With it. We'll figure something out.
Whatever you want, Dave.
My vision was this was pushed back.
Yeah, I thought it was farther back.
Yeah, it's,
I didn't think you'd be in our laps. Like this.
well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I like you, but you know.
Close to the action.
Yeah.
All right. Skip student representative, finance facilities. We have our minutes in the packet. I'll just go over that. Corrado gave us update. He talked about the CES parking lot in the St. Mary's parking lot, talking about the drainage there, working with the town of Canaan on that. Dan Ivey has started here as facilities director, right? Director? Is that
No.
Manager. Facilities technician, thank you. Handling all that good stuff with this building and that, and taking a lot off Corrado's plate, so that helps a lot. Getting lots of new parts when budget opens July 1st. Did a lot of cleaning in April, and they worked their way through the floors. Rob gave us an updated version of the CIP. As he may have mentioned at some point, he did recommend upping the amount we put into facility CIP to closer to $250 a year instead of the $150 that we have been doing. That will just keep pace with inflation, give us a little buffer. We'll be okay with that. Yeah, we did the audit last time. Rob's been checking with cafe services, and then driver's ed. We talked about. We did talk about the. We did deal with that last time. So
Yeah.
he's researching the potential of contracting that for future years. So, and that was that. Any questions on those?
Well, I'm glad you took care of it.
Oh, thank you.
Can't make it.
That is no problem. All right. Next up, we got co-curricular.
So you
You're
have
both
the,
there.
Yeah, you have the minutes in your packet. They are very brief, as was our meeting.
Yes.
There you go.
Essentially, we approved the calendar. Our ADs were unavailable, so we didn't have any specific updates. We reviewed the committee goals, and they are both things that we want to continue. We did actually talk about feasibility study for a track proposal. So they kind of, we've actually crossed something off our list before we even needed to. So we'll be looking in September is our next meeting, and we'll look at the strategic plan, which by then will have been approved, as well as the district goals.
Okay. Any questions on that one?
All set.
All right. EIC. Want to take it away? Take it away?
So you're talking to me?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Kathleen. Yeah, sorry, Kathleen. You gotta take it away, Kathleen.
So we had our meeting, and minutes of April 27th was approved. And we talked about the NHED report from Mascoma. And it's a long presentation. There's data that we plan to have presented to the board to help inform more people about the goals and everything that we were discussing. We spent some time talking about the EIC goals, and the breakdown is in a copy of the draft minutes that you have there. We'll talk about it some more when we have our retreat. And we talked about the revision of templates for the quarterly reports. And I think that there's some more work to be done on that, and we're moving along. We feel confident that we're getting a good format that'll be easier for the administrative team to simplify that task that they have to do. And our next meeting was changed. It's going to be on June 8th at 2 o'clock, and we'll meet in the community room. And that was a discussion that we held with the high school principal, Tina. And mainly for the convenience of her schedule, we were able to be flexible and put it at that time. And it's a work in progress. We're going to see how it works out and review it for everybody. So.
Exciting. Any questions for Kathleen on that? Just flipping through, we can tell, like you said, we'll talk about goals at the retreat, but I like what I'm reading so far. Looks really good. I like it, so exciting. All right, Superintendent's report.
So you do have my written report in your packet. Basically here I have listed what we still are looking for, as you can see, for open positions. Doing pretty well. I'll present to you, non-public, some new hires. Very pleased with the hiring work that the administrators have been doing. They have really been selecting high quality candidates, and there are not a lot of people entering the profession of teaching. So we have really done a good job at looking for people who would be a good fit and really good for our kids and our school community. So I am thankful that our administrators are working very hard and diligently there. I will add that just this morning I had a meeting with the Butler Bus representatives. They are currently working on routes. They would like to bring the routes to, I don't have the new calendar in front of me, but either the very last school board meeting in July, if we still have that, or the first one in August, if it's early enough. I don't want it to wait for too long because parents do need to have that. So they are currently working on that. I have asked them to add 2 vans to our route. So they have said they would be able to do that. Those will be not special ed vans, those will be regular ed vans. And we determined in the meeting today that they would be doing some of the more difficult routes, like 118 out in Dorchester. We could put enough kids on there. They will most likely be mixed level grades, will not just be dedicated to CES. There might be some middle school or high school kids on there, but they'll all be siblings, right? We can fit 9 kids on and a couple of families. So there might be some intermixing on the vans of age groups, but overall they're all families, so it should be fine. So we'll be accommodating 118 and some of the Dorchester routes. Then we'll also be accommodating a couple of roads in Grafton where we do have some trouble. A large bus would have some trouble going. So I'm pretty excited about that, pretty pleased with the way that should take some time off of the routes that we have. I've asked Steve Landon to also send me a hiring flyer because currently we do need at least 1 more driver to make this work. Ideally, we would pick up 2 or 3 new route drivers. That would be great. So please spread the word that if you know anybody that would like to drive the bus, that would be great. So the vans already come with a couple drivers, but the bus routes do not. So we would be looking for a couple of more drivers for buses. The other thing that I'd like just to bring your attention to is that in the informational only section here, we have a couple of documents that pertain. Were you going to talk about this?
I don't think so.
Okay, good. A couple of documents that pertain to some of the questions that we had after the auditor's presentation. So you have the tax rate comparison, you have policy DFA that talks about investments, you have the Canaan trustees of the trust funds investment policy. So all of those are there. Those are questions that came up or information that you were looking to have at the last meeting when we did have the presentation from the auditor. So I just like to make sure that you know that those are in there and give those a quick look over when you have a minute.
Okay, any questions for Amanda?
I have a question.
Yes.
When you were speaking about adding the smaller vans and everything, are the bus company people receptive to putting on those smaller vans?
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
they don't oppose it for any specific
Nope.
reason?
No, it actually think it's gonna really help us. Because,
Good.
we have it's right, and actually the interesting thing, Kathleen, is that they talked about how the road agents in the various towns would also be very happy if we were just running vans
Yes.
on some of the roads as opposed to running the large buses over and
Yes.
over.
Maybe some vans can be all-wheel drive?
I feel like, yeah, so
definitely.
I feel like people are, like, overall, running a couple extra vans is going to be beneficial to multiple entities in this venture, so.
I've been talking up the smaller vans to the citizens in Orange.
Awesome.
And I actually got feedback at Panera the other day, and one mom was ecstatic. She said, I think that's safer, I think it's a better idea, and she was telling all of her friends in the kindergarten area that this is what we need, so.
Yeah, no, I think it does work, and it's easier to find drivers for those.
It is.
The vans themselves are hard to find, so we're lucky to grab two. Steve told me he had them, I said, we'll take them.
Yeah. And then if it works well, maybe the following year or halfway through the year, we can look and be like, hey, this is another route that would be good. Chop half this route off and put a van up there. And I think our more remote places, like you said, picking up families, you can pick up 2-3 kids or neighbors or whatever. The ones that live way out there, you're not making every kid go on the bus all the way to go get them, or that kid get on at 6:15 in the morning, and vice versa.
And the best thing about the small van is you don't need a CDL license.
That's right.
Correct.
That's right.
And it may help to take care of that problem of needing drivers.
We could probably find some parents who were looking to make some extra money, and good way to do it. So.
The other thing I wanted to add is just a suggestion. I know the town of Canaan has a newsletter, and Enfield has like listservs and everything like that. I was wondering if they would be receptive to putting that help wanted flyer.
Great idea.
Good idea.
Town
yeah.
stuff.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Maybe
We'll do that.
it reaches more people who might think, oh, maybe I can do that.
That's how I found out about the school board meeting, was because it was a flyer in the selectman's office. So yeah, it definitely works, because when you go and register your dog or what have you, it's sitting there. It's like, oh, I didn't know that was available. So.
Yeah, post it in there too. Yeah. Good idea. All right. Anything else for Amanda?
I'm just going to ask about behavior, because unfortunately I live on the road, and they do have the. Will they know how to, because it's a small area, so if you're putting problem children together, instead of having a large bus where you got some room to, move little Timmy from little Amanda or whatever, how will that work?
Wow.
It's called Little Amanda.
I usually pick a fake name.
Take
Don't you know what I'm saying?
Take that off a minute.
Being close, I have 3 children. I mean, you get in a car and you get a
He's
disgruntled
touching me. He's
child.
poking me. Yeah. I was curious.
How is that going to work?
We'll discipline the same way that we always do, but I do understand, Vicki, you're talking about siblings often act worse when they're just with their siblings.
Yeah, because I can see mine. I mean, now they're driving, but that's
Amanda's
a different
case.
topic.
Dude.
So, we'll discipline them, and it's going to be a real privilege, right? It's going to be a privilege to be on that bus and on the van rather, and be home sooner or picked up later. So I imagine parents will support us pretty good in that.
What are you doing now?
Superintendent's report.
I know, but you're talking about the bus.
Right. She brought that up as a conversation she just had today with Butler's Bus about adding 2 vans to the routes next year to pick up the more far outreaching kids. So.
Well, it's cheaper than the helicopter.
That's for sure. All right.
Sorry.
You have anything else?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Cut you back up. Business Administrator's report. Rob.
Good evening. I described a little bit of our food service contract for this year. This is our last option year, so for FY24, FY25 we'll have to go out to bid. The total cost rose just slightly. The bigger news is the revenue estimates jumped quite a bit higher, which lowers the total cost to the district, by about $12,000. Much like driver's ed, we try to get to this, make this self-sustaining as possible. Sometimes we come closer than others. And most of this was achieved by increasing meal prices up by 50 cents across the board. It's sort of a necessary evil with inflation and a lot of other things that are just costing more. So if it's going to cost us more, we have to kind of temper that with maybe raising the rates to the families, which we don't like to do, but it's sort of just the way things have to be. So, and yeah, pretty much driver's ed. I had a meeting with the driver's ed coordinator and the teacher, just talking about different ways that we could sort of manipulate the system to, again, get that closer to be self-sustaining, because of the cost of the district keeps growing every year. And one of the things is maybe have 3 classes a year instead of 4. That would break up the driving time in the summer so that kids can take the class, but if there's any leftover residual driving time, you know, we could go on, it would open up the schedule for like the 4th quarter. So we're going to keep on exploring ways to help that situation. They're going to try and save 10 minutes with every driving hour by reducing our COVID protocols, which we don't technically need anymore since the health emergency is over. But masks will still be required, but it's not so much heavy disinfecting anymore, which I don't think we need. But we'll keep you posted on that. And I'm proud to say that we are one of 25 schools in the country that won a Department of Energy class prize of $100,000 going towards sustainability and energy saving measures. We will pay a consultant to evaluate things that can be done in the school and hopefully save some energy and care for the environment and all of that good stuff.
Awesome. Any questions for Rob?
I'm sorry to be the one always asking questions.
No, questions good.
Two. How much is going to have to raise the food prices for the parents?
50 cents.
Okay. Well, how about Johnson Controls? What's the deal with them? I thought they were supposed to be the ones that do the energy audits for us and tell us what we save money on.
So this is
year.
something in addition to? So we'll get to it next.
Yeah, it's next on the
list.
agenda.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I have to bring this stuff up because I get, it doesn't take long for me to miss something. Okay.
I just had a question, because you said in the here you're suggesting a 25-cent increase on lunch, but they had originally suggested a 50-cent.
Yes.
So you want to split the difference? Okay, all right, just want to make sure.
I mean, we could look at see what 25 plays out to, but it's just going to increase our costs on the district.
And you've done pretty good about getting everybody owes money right now. We're doing pretty good about getting it back.
We're getting better.
Okay.
It's getting there.
We've got a ways to go.
Yeah, we talked about that a bunch of
times. I figured you did.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. As long as the driver's ed, if you look at a proposal of moving to 3 sessions, but more time to get the driving in, as long as the cohort size can be increased, then that could maybe work. But
right. Well,
without increasing the cohort size,
that's one of the tipping points. Is only being able to schedule X amount of kids for driving. She could have a run slightly bigger class, so she could free up the driving time outside of that.
Yeah, because like let's say you have to get 60 kids through a year and you do 4 things of 15 and then switching it to 3 of 20, like that are more ideal, because then the same number of kids, or maybe you do 3 of 22, you get a few more, or whatever.
Her classroom's full. I go by there and the whole
Right.
classroom.
Oh no, I've seen it in here, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Okay, up next, who would like to talk about the energy class prize? Was that?
Of course I would.
All right.
So this was the Renew America Schools grant that was proposed by Biden administration. So we did apply for both facets of it. There were 2 parts. The first part was monies awarded for projects in your schools. So we did apply for that. We applied and asked for a couple $1 million. We were highly discouraged from applying. I like to go big, Dan. So we were highly discouraged from applying, and I said, we're applying anyway. So we did manage to trim that down to, I don't know, $500,000 or $600,000, $700,000, and really focus our energy on IRS. So Corrado has been instrumental in that. Harrison Little, we did contract with him to write these grants. He's an excellent writer, so I do attribute a lot of our winning the other grant to him. So we did have some questions come back on that second grant. They wanted some clarification. So we did submit clarification yesterday afternoon, and we're waiting to hear. So I thought it was pretty good that they were asking for clarification, and our projects were pretty reasonable. So we're still waiting to hear if we will receive any money to do any projects. The second portion of that, of the Renew America Schools grant is called the Energy Class Prize. So you'll see that in your packet right now, the confirmation email that says that we did receive that. This allows us to hire a person or use a person, fund a person. It's $100,000. So it's used to help fund a person already in district. We have named that person to be Corrado. He actually has a degree in sustainability, so he will be really working at doing some energy audits and doing other pieces. We still are going to meet and figure out exactly where we want this to go. And then we'll do a presentation in finance and facilities as we start to map it out. But the really important, and Corrado will also receive some training and other benefits that come directly in addition to the $100,000. If you do look at the third page, you will see that the list of 25 schools. The closest school to us, so there we are, Little New Hampshire. The next closest school is Vermont, right there, Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union. So after that, you start to look at, some schools out in the west. So really exciting for us to have won this. It's come up a couple times in statewide meetings. The commissioner has acknowledged it, and Department of Energy has also acknowledged us publicly in those meetings. I have a press release that has hopefully been sent out to the Valley News. I know it's already been on the radio that we've won, so it's pretty exciting. So as we progress more with this, we will keep you all right in the know as we move forward.
All right.
Do we get anything on the solar panels thing or not?
Solar panels are part of the grant that we're waiting to hear about. We asked for money for a solar array for the Indian River School.
Getting there.
I'm getting there, yeah.
Getting there.
Yeah, it's been.
Well, and having the person that we pay for now, that this pays for, will be able to, give us some good recommendations, and we'll be able to formulate plans and stuff.
It's taken me 6 years to keep pushing.
I know.
3 more left.
Any other questions on that?
No.
All righty. Looks like next up, CES EVS handbooks. You can see the adjustments there.
Yep, I did allow Jamie and Leah, they had minimal, and they're very, very busy, so minimal changes. So you'll see there's the CES handbook just changed slightly, some people in there, and the EVS handbook pretty much standard. Or
Do you need a motion for these?
I do need both of those.
I just made a motion that CES and EVS handbook updates to go ahead with what's listed.
Boom, there you go. Do a second?
Second.
All right, Danielle, second. Any further discussion on that, on the handbooks? No. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Abstentions. All right.
So Tim, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to the Renew America Schools.
Oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Could I have a motion to accept those funds, just because?
Yeah.
Just because?
To make a motion that we approve the SAU to accept the Phase 1 cash prize of $100,000.
I second.
All right, there we go. We can second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Abstentions. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to see the money.
And when it comes in, you can
I want to see
count
the
it
money.
into
I want
the
to
vault.
count. I want to count
Count it into the vault.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's
Coins,
all
yeah.
in coins. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I want to see that Brinks truck show up.
All right, up next we got the school board retreat topics, strategic plan, etc. Was there anything on this besides just saying that our topics will be our goals and updating us with the strategic plan, right?
Sounds good to me.
Pretty much it, right? And so for the strategic plan, we have been meeting throughout the spring here. We'll have a finalized version by the time of the board retreat. But it's just updating and kind of catching up where we didn't move forward and kind of catching it back up after COVID and getting it back on track. So
Can I ask you,
yes,
can I ask you when you planned on doing this board retreat?
it's going to be on June 4th, Sunday, June 4th. It is at noon. And we're going to have lunch downstairs in the community room.
Yeah, you're cooking.
Say, wait a minute. Board retreat, June 4th?
Sunday, yep.
Yeah.
And that way,
Where's it gonna be?
downstairs here in the building.
Yeah.
In CPO. And then that way at 4 o'clock, we have senior awards here as well.
Well,
So-
I will, unfortunately, I will not be there because I'm scheduled for the playoff game.
Oh.
So I will not be there.
Well, if you have anything that you want to get in before then, just,
Oh, yeah.
all right. Well, just leave a note at the SAU or,
Yeah, I'll send a balloon up
okay.
with a string attached to it.
Well, all right.
Thank
Anything
you.
else on the retreat or topics for?
May I just be kind of, so a clarification of
Yes.
what the retreat is? I heard from Amanda when I come on that it's
Right.
not all that. So it's just a catch up, if you will. Do you mind just clarifying a little bit
Yeah.
for the total leaders?
It's essentially a work session.
Okay.
That takes several hours, and we basically reset our goals for the year.
Okay.
I mean, in short, that's what we do. We look at all of our goals, we break them down by committee, and we say what goals we want to have.
We'll look at
Last year's,
goals.
how well did we meet them?
Okay.
What's the new goals we want to develop for that one? And then this year, we're incorporating some of the strategic plan. We'll incorporate that into it as well.
Okay.
To kind of, we should have that be ahead of the school board retreat.
Yep.
And so we'll be able to review it beforehand. But
Okay.
it'll be here noon downstairs in the community room on Sunday the 4th, June 4th.
Eat a lot of food.
We will. I think we're getting Ziggy's.
Are you? You get what?
We are. I think we are getting Ziggy's.
Ordered Ziggy?
I think we're ordering Ziggy's. Yeah.
Really?
I think. I don't know.
Can I get mine sent to me?
Maybe. Yeah.
No.
Oh, don't be telling me that. You guys gotta hope you win tomorrow night.
All right.
Don't be pulling that with me. I know who the umpires are.
Okay, up next.
Not me.
We got the lunch rates for the next school year. So we have this presented. We'll bring
I'll show up.
your elementary school full price to $3, middle and high school to $3.25, breakfast at the elementary to $1.75, and $2 at the middle and high school. This is an increase. Reduced is still at 40 cents for lunch and 0 for breakfast. I think this looks like it raised the adult rates as well for everything, I think. Yes, okay. And this is a quarter increase across the board?
50 cents.
50 cents. So right now elementary is $2.50 and it's $2.75. Okay. All right.
I'm making a motion for this. I'm staying out of that.
You're not going to?
I'm not motioning that.
Okay.
I'd like to make sure that, some Vermont's making sure that everybody gets it free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks to their legislature.
Yep.
Is that what it is?
Yep, their legislature put it into
Well, now
their
it's
state
put those
budget.
to-
And their governor
No,
signed
not
it.
there anymore.
You're
Not there anymore.
I know you're not there. Okay. So we have to make a motion.
But we can make a motion, we can then talk about it, and then we don't
Yeah,
have
we
to
do.
stick
I'll
to
make
it.
the motion, we talk about this.
Okay.
First pick.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All right, for discussion purposes.
See,
All right, discussion purposes on
Sorry.
this.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So do you have any comments on this then?
I just don't think they should raise it. To tell you the truth, I think you leave it the way it was last year because how much of a deficit are they talking about without raising it?
Probably like $36,000.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And if you raise it, what's the difference? If you raise it to what you got, the rate you're going for,
It goes down to 23.
down to 23, you still have a deficit.
Yep. But a smaller one. By about.
How's the, now the other question is how do we subsidize the deficit?
We just pay it.
We pay it off for 23,000 when it comes to the end of the year?
Yeah, it just rolls into the general, I mean, it's
So
all.
we take it off the general fund for what we got left over?
Yep.
Exactly?
Yep.
Unassigned fund balance.
Unassigned fund balance.
Unassigned
That
fund
is a way to assign fund balance.
I'm just asking
Yeah.
that, that's all.
And I'm with Brewster because I mean, there's families that this is what they get for
Yeah.
their meals,
Yeah.
and 50 cents doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, I know with inflation and stuff as well, but still, we have kids that this is the only time they get to have their meals.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I have a question. How much of that 36,000 or 36,
36.
right, is bad debt? Just not blatantly not paying for your bill?
It's not really calculated in, that's just the operating cost and revenue.
So anything that's not paid for comes out of the revenue side. So this is assuming that everyone's paying every single day
Exactly.
as they go, and then it will still operate at a loss of whatever,
So that
30,000.
doesn't even calculate into the figure there.
Right, so unpaid lunch balances come off of the revenue amount.
Because the bad debt is actually considered collectible.
Right.
Yeah.
So I get, anybody else got anything else? I got one thing that irks me all the time is, because I asked many times, all the administrators in each school try to work out the people, like some people don't apply for the reduced lunch thing. And I almost think each administrator almost knows, or somebody knows in each school, which people, which families need that. And they need to, it's just like registering for your kid to come to school. I mean, it's very disheartening because I'd like to make sure that, I always thought the little kids needed that anyway. So it shouldn't be coming from CES and EBS. They should all get, lunch. They should have breakfast. And it makes a big difference. But my thing is, the families, it's almost like maybe some people don't need it in that packet, but in the first part of the year, in September and August, when they get here, that should be part of that deal with.
It is.
We sent it out several times.
I know, but some people don't fill it out.
Yeah.
I know, but doesn't the administrators know which families are in dire need?
No.
I'm sure they do.
Well,
Or they might have some idea maybe, but.
I think some people hide it very well, and you might not know.
I have something to add to that.
Yeah.
At the EIC meeting, we were kind of digressing off, and we came upon this subject, and I think Hope was the one that had the information. She said that there is a movement at our state legislature that when families are processing through for their Medicaid application, that information about the free lunches will be automatically approved and then filter down through the appropriate school districts.
I hope that works.
I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I hope that they
I hope so.
finish that up and do it.
That would help a lot. So, all right,
But that's not something that
this year.
we can,
That's not
It's something we can hang our hat on.
No,
Yeah.
we have to wait for the state to do their job.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep my ears peeled, and if we hear anything about that, I will get on them, because that's a great idea.
Who was the gal that came to one of our meetings a few months ago, and she was one of our representatives?
Oh, Corinne Morse?
Yes.
From Canaan,
And
yes.
maybe we could keep in
Yeah.
touch with her via email.
Yeah, totally. It's a good idea.
Find out how that's progressing.
Vicky, do you have anything
All I
else?
was just gonna say is if we already have a problem with bad debt, you raise it, you're gonna increase more bad debt.
Yeah.
And that will, does it kind of make it, I don't know how to say it, but it just is concerning, because we're already chasing, how much did you say for the bad debt?
I think we're up to like 6,000 now.
That's pretty good.
6,000, that's good.
That's
lower
low.
than it was.
It's getting down. Yeah. No.
So,
deficit plus bad debt is upwards of 40,000.
yeah.
Well, it's operating cost that the operating cost versus revenues is what they're dealing with. They're projecting to us. So, yeah.
All right. Any further discussion on that? All right, we do have a motion on the floor, and that is to raise the rates to what's said here. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. All opposed? Nay? Nay. All abstain? All right, motion fails. There we go. So we'll maintain prices again the same this year. I will say, as a parent of 2 kids who eat school lunch probably most days of the week, it's like $100 a month for the 2 of them. And I'm like, I gotta refill this again? Like, I just put money in it. It adds up. It adds up.
Yeah.
Tim, did you abstain?
I did not abstain,
Did
no.
anybody?
No.
Okay.
No.
Will it be detrimental to us as a district, knowing that we have to go out for bids with a food service program, knowing that we're operating in a deficit, or is that just kind of standard?
I'm not sure.
I think as long as they get
I think
paid.
it would be.
If they get paid, right?
Yeah, I don't think it will hurt our
Okay.
chances.
Yeah, I think we go out to bid with an RFP, they don't really need to.
Yeah.
Know if you
Okay.
I think we go out to bid, Danielle, we've had good rapport with them for the last number of years. And yeah, it's worked out pretty well, because when Deb Ford was here, as business administrator, she had a handle on them, and they had money, so they could upgrade stuff they needed to. So the biggest thing is they need to look at cutting costs and making sure they have what they need, so they're not charging, they're cutting costs on their expenditures, so that,
I'm sure.
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're looking for every place.
The
Yeah.
food companies come in here, and the
Yeah.
food companies, the different food companies that come in here, so.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. Next on our agenda, I have NHSBA resolution. That is just informational, really, because we have until July 28th to submit any resolutions for this fall's NHSBA delegate assembly. So put your thinking caps on between now and then. If you think of anything, great. But we have successfully put in resolutions in the past that were supported and approved, and
I say
it's
send-
always good.
I say send hope to it. That's
We are sending hope to it.
Would
Okay.
it help
Yeah.
if we put in a resolution to support the Medicaid crossover
Ooh,
on the information?
that would be
for all
going to
of
good
the
research,
schools?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I think if we put, if we just put a note that we want to add, we want to table this till maybe the second meeting in June or something
Yeah.
like that, because then we hope the legislature will
Will
have
be
ended
done.
for the session will have ended, so we'll have a sense of whether or not that's going to move forward,
That's a
and
good-
if we can do that.
Yeah, you
And
want
it
to bring
still
us back in a
gives us-
month,
Yeah.
and then we can revisit the conversation, and yeah, if you
Yeah.
want to explore that and see what you can find, and that would be great. And we can talk about it more. And any other idea that you have, I mean, we put in ones that, the NHSBA would advocate for pre-K, universal pre-K in the state, and that is on there, that's in their permanent one now. And we did the thing for the school board student member scholarship. That was great. Okay. Up next, I see we have, I'm just looking over here, general assurances. So, this is our yearly general assurances that we do, and we do need a vote in favor of that.
Where is that at?
It has to do with our finances and policies and the state and such.
Yeah, it allows us to receive federal funds.
Yep.
Oh, we'll do that, no
Yep.
problem.
Do I have a motion?
Yeah, we'll make a motion to accept that.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Give us all the money we
Yeah,
got.
something. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, abstentions. All right.
All right.
That guy's good. Up next, I see here we have a field trip request for the high school band. It appears that they will be playing at the Canaan and Enfield Memorial Day parades. They will need bus transport to the first parade, and then to the second location, and then back home to the school. Apparently, I am a chaperone. Yes, I am.
Did you go through the
I'm gonna be,
protocol?
oh yeah, I'm
Yeah?
on that list. I
Again?
got my background check. They took my fingerprints and everything.
Thank God.
I know.
You-
So
No,
I
let's
have
be clear.
I have a correction because I'm helping organize
Oh, good.
the Canaan one.
Yes,
And it's not a parade for Canaan.
you're right. Yes, it's not.
It's just
Yes.
a service.
Yes.
So they aren't marching.
Now, I am very thankful we're not
So
marching
it's
in that one. Yep.
Singular. It's
What's that,
Not
the
a parade.
Memorial Day one?
Yeah, the Canaan is not marching. It is just standing and having a
Yeah,
little ceremony.
they're always there, yeah.
And then the Enfield is marching from
They're
where
marching all
we do,
over
yeah,
town.
we
Make
went
a
around,
make a loop.
make a loop, and then we end at
Yeah.
the cemetery and stuff. And so I'll be there playing this tuba, and please come out and support us.
You're going to carry the tuba all
See,
over.
No, I have a sousaphone that wraps around
Oh,
you.
okay.
And
He's got one of those
last
ones
year I realized while I was playing while marching that I've never played and marched at the same time with a sousaphone. That's not what I played in
When
high
it's
school.
90
No, we
degrees
didn't
out.
march
Yeah.
that much.
Oh, my God.
Uphill. right.
Make a motion that we approve
Thank
the
you.
field trip
Yeah, I do.
request for the high
Second.
school music
All
program to participate in the Memorial Day
Brewster
festival.
seconded.
Yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, abstentions. All right.
If you do a terrible job with Toby, you're never gonna do it again.
I know. It'd be the worst.
It'll be the worst.
Hey, yeah. Well, it is a good thing to get out in the community. The community really appreciates the support, like having music out there for these types of ceremonies and stuff.
It's really needed.
It really is. And
People forget
they'll
the
play
purpose
taps.
of Memorial
My
Day.
daughter's gonna play the taps, one of the taps.
Is she the only one playing?
No, there's two. They're gonna do an
Oh,
echo.
good. Okay,
So,
'cause I've
So
been waiting for
she-
Amy to
she's-
confirm this too.
She's been practicing. So.
What's the next one?
All right, next one. We have the MOA for remote snow days.
Set tuition rate.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Set tuition rate. Sorry, I'm
Trying
just
to help you.
Thank you, Brewster. All right, set tuition rate. So we did need to do this again this year for the upcoming year. Currently, it is at 103%.
Yes, 3% over the state average.
3% over the state average.
I think it didn't make it, if there was a handout, it didn't make it into the printed
Yeah.
packet.
I'm
It
looking
did.
for it, I
Yeah.
can't
And
find
I'm
it.
looking something else.
No handout?
No handout.
No.
Okay, cool.
So that is it. So we would need a motion to keep our tuition rate the same if we want to do that for next year.
Yes,
At 103%
Yep.
of the
Of the
state
state
average.
of
average.
state average. I'll make
Yep.
a motion, we do that.
Okay.
All right.
Give a second. Danielle, a second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, abstentions. All right, now we have the snow day MOU.
Where's that at?
That is,
I see
right
that
there.
Oh, it's right there. Okay, got it.
All right, so this, Amanda, do you want to
Sure.
do a little brief thing?
So this is the exact snow day MOU that we ran on this past year. So the MVREA and the MVRSS have ratified it, so we're just looking to ratify it. It will be added in as an addendum to the new professional agreements. So we're just looking for approval for this. For people worried about the magic of a snow day, there would not be a remote day until we had 3 traditional snow days.
Fair enough.
Used it much as we did this year, so that it doesn't end up, us looking at 4, 5, 6 snow days. We're already at the end of June. We could have potentially had a couple more, putting us into the very last week of June. So.
You could have got an exemption from the state.
Potentially, yes.
We could, yes.
But it does work against us because the State Board of Education really promotes the remote snow days. So I'm not sure that it was a guaranteed exemption for us, right? They want people to be using the remote option,
Yeah.
so
Interesting.
not guaranteed.
Right.
So this document's not signed by the president of the Teachers Association,
It's correct.
This copy's not, yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is just a copy of it.
Well,
but
you-
are they in agreement?
Yes, they have ratified.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
They have.
Excellent. All right, I'll entertain a motion on that.
Okay, I make a motion, we accept the memorandum
Okay.
agreement.
Give a second.
Second.
All right, Kathleen, second. Any further discussion on this? I like that it says you may ask them for feedback on the effectiveness, because I think that'll be important as we try this new thing out. So, cool.
I think, yeah, so we already passed this, right?
Not what we got. Motion. We're going to vote in a second.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead, Vicky. Do you have a question?
No.
Oh, I thought I heard you.
No, not on this thing.
Okay. All right. See no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed. Abstentions. All right.
I'm voting in favor, I'm just trying to say that we never had, anytime the superintendent's ever done this to try to get the state, they've always approved this. All the years I've been on, if you went over that, they would still give you those days and not have to go back to school.
Typically that has happened, but I will say that the flavor of the
changing?
school state
Yeah.
board is to promote the remote days.
So they're changing that?
Yeah.
It's
sounds
just,
like it.
it's just where they're able to have, I did have to work very carefully around the 2 days that we were closed because of the well.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Not this year, but I believe that was last year.
That was last year.
it's turned to hazmat.
All right, agenda items for next meeting, we'll have committee reports, the authority to hire for the summer for Amanda, other fun stuff, I'm sure. It'll be right after our retreat, so we'll be able to add anything else we need that day, but it should not be too much of a,
She hasn't got much to
Meeting.
hire this year.
So we'll have goals from the retreat.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, goals.
well, goals from the retreat, finalized, approved. and discuss.
Strategic plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, those strategic plan to present and discuss, so. All right, public comment.
A busing question. Do we have any idea how much Hanover's paying more than Butler? Because there's 3 Hanover buses that come out of Enfield and Canaan every morning.
And I see them parked.
And they go,
driveways.
and yeah. And obviously they must be getting paid more if they're driving to Hanover rather than driving here.
Actually, there's one not coming from Canaan, he's coming from way down near Bristol.
He's coming down way in Bristol, yeah. I
Yeah.
seen him. He
Yeah,
was
I
in
seen him
January
every
the other day.
Yeah.
And there's 2 that drive by me, my house, every morning.
Good
I'd
question.
like to see that fuel bill.
So I'm a little confused. You're saying Hanover buses?
Oh yeah,
in our
Hanover School
district?
District buses are drivers who live in Enfield.
Oh, okay. Because I personally know someone who lives in Canaan and he drives for Hanover.
Right?
And
So-
I asked him
yeah.
the other day when we were talking about it, I asked him how much he was getting paid
Right.
and why he didn't apply for our district. And the thing was for him that he didn't want to be a regular bus driver. He does the after school programs and all of that. So there is a differential for doing that. But he's much happier driving for Hanover.
Right. Well, no, these 2 are every day.
Yeah.
These 2 drivers
And that
go
could
down
be
Shaker Hill
that
Road every day.
If they reside in, definitely
They live in
reside,
Enfield.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In the district.
Yeah, find out why, I wonder why. All right.
And it's not, it's not Butler that
No.
is running the Hanover buses.
That's why I'm asking, is there a differential as to what Hanover pays as to what Butler's paying?
Yeah, well, we were discussing the problems with Butler.
Right.
And that's the issue.
Maybe.
Yeah.
London's got their own
Like it.
buses.
So, do you know if Hanover, do they own their own buses?
I
they
do not
contract?
believe they do.
No.
They contract with somebody?
They might
contract.
must contract
Okay,
with
that's
us.
curious.
Yeah.
All right. We have non-public then, I presume, for purposes of hiring and security.
Nominations
You got-
first?
And
or
now
no?
BC
Oh,
and I,
nominations.
oh, yeah, and vermin, oh, yeah, personnel nominations. All right.
They got this.
Well, yeah, okay, there we go.
All right, so try to help you out.
Thank
with
you, thank you.
Assistant superintendent over here.
I know, right? All right, so we do have
That's my
our
unofficial
support staff
title.
nominations here as presented. So I can entertain a motion for these
All
For
three
which
sheets
ones?
are those nominations, right?
nominations.
Okay.
This one, the stapled one.
There's
These
all
together,
kinds
right?
of them.
These are all going together, right?
All three. That's there's no
Yeah.
title on the other two, that's why I asked.
Oh, okay.
So what you have is these are current employees.
Yep.
So we'll be sending them the contract and then just 2 resignations.
All right, so,
Okay.
but we can do all that in one
That's
motion.
it.
Yep.
Good. Yep.
All right, so do we have a motion? You did. Do we have a motion? Did anyone?
Oh, you want me to make a motion? I'll make
Sure.
a motion, we accept what's listed on
Go
here
for
for
it.
all the nominations for the renewals for the, and the resignations.
All right. Do we have a
How's that?
second?
Second.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Who knows?
all right. You
Second
fight
all
amongst
over the
yourselves.
place.
All right, any comments, questions, concerns on these?
Where's the resignation?
That one right in front of you, that one.
These 2? that
Those
decided?
2, yep.
Okay.
All right. All those in favor of approving support staff nominations as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. All right. Now we have non-public. That's what happens when we don't have a written agenda in front of us.
Make a motion, we go in non-public.
All right, for BC and I.
Second.
Yeah.
And Kathleen seconded. Brewster?
Yes.
Tim, yes. Danielle?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
All right, we are in non-public.
Rob, you can leave.
No.